Jeff from Automation Integrators. Here today just to address some question we get asked a lot, which is my CRM has let's say a notification system or a certain set of features. What's different about your technology? How is it going to help us then do something that our CRM can't do? And the reality is that CRMs, like any technology, have big learning curves. And the question is not what the technology can do. The question is, how effectively is it going to actually be used? And that's where we really address an important need that's not being handled. So, taking you through it, without a technology, a CRM in this case, I think everyone agrees that without the technology, your efficiency and performance is much lower than it is with technology. But the problem is that the technology barrier. Okay, so you have your salesperson here, and they have to learn to use the technology, and you'll see it's okay. So from when they start, here's the person who knows how to use it properly. Then there's building the habit of using it properly 100% of the time. So you'll note, and here of course is where you want every salesperson to be to maximize your investment and your revenue. Okay, that's the finish line. You'll notice that the curve, the learning curve, is steeper to learn the technology properly, but this curve to actually build the habit, although it's less steep, it's much, much longer than this one is. Okay, but you need to have them overcome both of them. So what happens with most? Well, you have salespeople who get here and they give up because it's too hard to learn the technology properly. And you have others who learn it partially and then they use it sometimes, but they'll kind of not go beyond that point, okay? Now, over time, what happens in many cases is even the people who get here, they naturally start to get a little bit lazy and the habit fades. So, what's the best you can expect like this? Well, how many salespeople will learn it, will have the technological ability to learn it perfectly, all right? So let's say that that's about 1 in 100, because salespeople are usually not the most technical. Maybe it's a little more than this. You judge for yourself. But let's say it's 1 in 100, okay? And how many will use it perfectly all the time, meaning they've fully worked the habit into their schedule and how they do things? You can even think for yourself, how perfectly do you work a technology into your everyday? Because if you're not doing it perfectly, nobody's perfect, then what are the chances that your salespeople are going to also use it perfectly? So let's assume that in that case, it's 1 in 100 or even less than that, okay? So then we have 1 in 100 who are going to learn it properly, and then 1 in 100 that are going to use it properly. That means then about 1 in every 10,000 salespeople are going to actually fully use your technology properly, perfectly. And this is your investment, remember that. So maybe you're in the top 1% that's doing better than this, but regardless, is this or anywhere even close to this where you want to be? The result of this is that a chunk of your investment gets wasted and your revenue is not maximized. Problem is, it's impossible. So in the real world, your best agents may get around here, and with any technology, it's impossible to get 100% of your agents using it properly. But this is where you need everyone to be in order to maximize your revenue at this point over here. Until now. So our technology has no barriers, meaning there's nothing to learn and there's no habits to build. So this point where you want all your salespeople to be to maximize your revenue, maximize your investment and your revenue, everyone's going to be there because it has no learning curve and no habits to build. It also removes the barriers of your CRM itself. So you'll see this curve over here for your CRM, the technical curve and the habit building curve, they get flattened because our behind the scenes automations do what he needs for him in the background. So he doesn't have to learn it. And it takes no time to build it because there's nothing for him to build. He doesn't need to do anything in order to get here. The result of this is that everyone gets here and maximizes your revenue. So instead of 1 in 100 times 1 in 100 or 1 in 10,000 people, 10 out of 10 people will be here. If you have any more questions on this, don't hesitate to reach out to us or book a demo.